The thing that kills me, and it really bothered me when I had Cornell West on the show, and I was pointing out to him that they're using the same RICO statutes and the same grand jury to indict Stop Cop City protesters as they're using to indict Donald Trump, and obviously January 6th protests. This is all, if I can see it, a C student comedian, I can see what's going on as plain as day. And I showed it to him, and I said, now you see the game, right? And he pretended he didn't. And that was such a fuck. And then he called me a Trumper after that. And it's like, so ever since then, he's been fucking dead to me because he doesn't have the balls as a fucking YouTuber. And that's why he'll never stand up to the establishment in a meaningful way, because if it risks his position in shitlib society or his next book deal or an invite on the MSNBC or CNN, he's going to fucking look you right in the eye and lie to you like a coward. And it turns out he is a fucking coward. And it doesn't bring me any joy to say that, but fuck that guy. And
celebrity boxing, that's what I
Jimmy, you guaranteed yourself from never entering Hollywood again. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, I don't need it, okay? I mean, I'm in Hollywood right now, so...
Yeah!
So...
That's
But
right.
what's really sad about it, Jimmy, what's really sad about it is like that mindset of his is why we're never going to be able to save New York City. We're never going to be able to save Chicago. We're never going to be able to save San Francisco because those people are so rich and insulated from the results of their voting. And the theory of hatred is worse than actually what's happening on the streets. So if something really bad happens to someone who's very rich and progressive, and let's say they're pumping their $5 gas, and someone comes up and robs them and shanks them, it's not because of what they voted for, it's just bad luck at that point. I remember right before they tried to recall the governor, everyone was complaining about the homeless situation. Everyone's complaining about prices. Everyone's complaining about all this. And then they just keep voting.
No, I know. That's what I said.
people.
I got a lot of shit. I remember my manager at the time, who I fired after this, he said to me, because I said a tweet, I said, was when it's like what happens in California, it's like an abused spouse. You know, they go, that's it. If you hit me one more time, I'm going to call the police. I've had it with you. And then she calls the police, or he called the police, whatever. Let me just be open-gendered here. And then by the time the police come, they've made up, and he's like, no, I fell down the stairs.
Yep.
That's why I said, you know, in California would vote for a bowl of shit if it had a D next to it.
Yeah, you're completely right.
So the thing the reason I bring this up is because they keep saying Donald Trump is going to be the person that's going to put his political opponents in jail. They're still saying it. Robert De Niro said it on Bill Maher the other day. He's going to come for us. You're not going to be able to host your show. And here's Keith Olbermann. Everything they say. First of all, can somebody get?
On the Tuesday,
Can somebody get Keith Olbermann a microphone extension cord so he doesn't have to press his face up against the fucking camera? So everything that they say Donald Trump is doing, they're actually doing it. They're kicking their political opponents off ballots, not just Donald Trump, but also the Green parties and third parties. They do it every 4 years. They make sure they're kicked off the ballots. They're doing it to Donald Trump, the number one opponent. They say that's what, and so listen to what this guy says. Listen to what he says.
On the Tuesday Countdown podcast, Trump's latest stochastic terrorism threat. Stop the prosecutions of me immediately. The country will not stand for it. How many times would they let you say something like that before they dragged your ass off somewhere?
Wait, I hope that I could say something like that 1,000,000 times, because all he's doing is stating that he's innocent. Where would you drag him off to? A jail for people who said things that pissed off Keith Olbermann? That's not. Did you hear what he listen?
On the Tuesday Countdown podcast, Trump's latest stochastic terrorism threat. Stop the prosecutions of me immediately. The country will not stand for it. How many times would they let you say something like that before they dragged your ass off somewhere?
Where would they drag you off? Who's going to drag you off for saying that you're innocent?
Guantanamo?
What's that?
The same place the January 6th people are right now?
Yeah. It sounds like Mr. Grumpy Pants needs another booster in his penthouse, I'll tell you that.
But I didn't see any spittle coming out, at least. Usually there's frothing. There's literally spit coming out of his mouth.
This is like Trump could run this as an ad for himself, and this will get him more votes. By the way, here, can I tell you?
Can I tell you something though? What I heard about the DeSantis campaign when they asked us, as a friend of mine asked his campaign manager, he said, "When did you know it was over and that that DeSantis had no chance of beating Trump in the primaries?" He said, "After the first indictment."
Really?
Of Trump, yeah. That's from the campaign manager.
So the more they indict him, the deeper his support gets.
Yeah, because
Well, how
then
could
it's
it
also-
not?
It wasn't the high heel shoes? That's why I said he's not gonna.
I thought that was an interesting choice to get some new people in under his umbrella of support.
Wasn't that this guy's whole group with the people who thought you could be arrested if you didn't get the shot? Weren't they all saying
Oh, yeah.
about
Wanted
that?
that to happen.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just a shot. What are you afraid of? Is what I remember.
That's
him
what he
saying.
kept saying. You're
what are you
afraid.
afraid of? You a coward? You're a coward.
You're
No,
a coward. It's an experimental medical treatment. It's prudent to be skeptical of it, especially
Yeah.
when it's coming from big pharma, and it takes 10 years for a vaccine to be approved. Usually, that just makes sense. But
And those are the guys. Don't get me going down that fucking road. I've gotten in so much trouble over that shit over the years. But no. And also, even when it does get approved, it's the fucking their own company doing their own research, cherry picking the data. And that, it's
Well, I
unbelievable.
like that he wears different colored glasses in each of these shorts.
he does. He does, if you look. But he talks about stochastic terrorism. Do you know what stochastic terrorism
That's
is?
a new word that was been coined up.
What does it mean? Stop stalling for time. What does it mean?
It's the definition is stochastic terrorism refers to political or media figures publicly demonizing a person or a group in such a way that it inspires supporters of the figures to commit a violent act against the target of the speech.
Okay.
So that just takes away. That is a real. You're going down a real road there. Accomplice. Somebody has nothing. You're influencing somebody to doing something. Therefore, you're guilty.
That's the old. You're
Yeah.
responsible for what someone else does.
Well, that's what the Soviet Union did. They wouldn't just take you away; they'd take your family away, and that was what got people to really be quiet, because it wasn't just taking that person; it's taking you, who you're associated with will also go down with you.
They do that here now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
do that if you follow somebody on Twitter, not even a family member.
that is the whole basis behind the Michigan governor situation. Like what that whole thing was with the Michigan governor kidnapping in January 6th was this kind of desire to manifest the U.S. population to demand a Bureau of Domestic Terrorism. So what you do is you get about 13 guys. Most of them are probably autistic, right? And they just you have all of them be feds. And they just fake this kind of thing, which now gets everybody scared that people are going to, oh, Donald Trump got these guys to go after the governor, when it was just a whole fake thing. And then the person who ran that operation was pulled off that to help run the January 6th operation, because it was all about trying to get a domestic terrorism bureau going so that if you get labeled a domestic terrorist, all your constitutional rights go away.
Out the window. Exactly. And that's why they repealed habeas corpus. And they can put you in jail without a trial now forever if they say you're a terrorist. And all you have to do to be a terrorist now is to spread mis or disinformation on the internet.
Or
malinformation. They call you a cyber terrorist, and they can throw you in jail forever. And believe me, if you're a threat to the establishment, they will. They'll censor you, they'll silence you, they'll discredit you, and if that doesn't work, they will arrest you and put you in jail. Look what they're doing to Julian Assange.
Well, malinformation is my favorite. Everybody knows disinformation, deliberate lies, and then misinformation. Okay, that's information it's incorrect, it misses. But malinformation is correct information that's just inconvenient and goes against the government narrative. So
That's
you can't
it,
say that.
right there.
That's
So
it.
that's what they're. That's some scary ass shit.
And that's the world we're living in right now. And that's what also bothered me when Cornell West came on the show and said we have to fear Trump is a neo-fascist. And I'm like, we're living in fascism. What fucking world are you living in? Did you know? And he didn't give a shit. He didn't give a shit about that they took away habeas corpus, that they're prosecuting their political enemies. January 6th was a setup by the FBI.
Well, no, but there is some racism happening. It's like when they say black people can't be racist. That's a new thing, and that he fits right into that. Like, it's just white people getting thrown in prison. There's nothing to really worry about. That's really
why
weird.
would you segregate racism? This is whites only. I'm sorry. Sorry, blacks. You cannot be racist.
Yeah.
Just for us. You go do your thing.
That's our thing. That's our word.
Hey, come see us do a live stand-up show. We're going to be in Stockholm, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, London, Oslo, Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Cortland, New York, Oakmont, Pennsylvania, El Paso, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Edmonton, Alberta, Vancouver, British Columbia, and Denver, Colorado. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets.